Welcome to Tailboard Talk, a fourth shift fitcast. The mission of Tailboard Talk and the fourth shift fitness is to educate and train fire service personnel to increase durability and decrease the potential for injuries and their associated costs. My name is Chris Morella, owner and founder of Fourth Shift Fitness. I'll use my experience as a personal trainer, strength coach, and 15-year veteran of the fire service to deliver tips, tricks, lessons, and information specifically geared towards the health and wellness of firefighters and paramedics. Each episode, you'll leave with immediate deliverables that will improve performance and resilience and keep you in the fight through your career and into retirement. Let's get into it. I actually didn't put it until this morning. I was like, I gotta get to
live dangerously.
Go get that stupid card. It's in the laptop and that's in my backpack.
I looked at the slot in my laptop and I'm like, maybe I should take this thing out. And I'm like, nah, he's good. He did a story on it yesterday. It's in there already.
I even found a different one. No, it was not. I guarantee it wasn't. So something else happened recently where I annoyed myself. So I wanted to play the two things. When's the last time you annoyed yourself? And then when's the last time you were so annoyed by someone else that you actually reacted verbally to it, like out loud? And then I did so that story is me in my car yelling at someone. Mm-hmm. But nothing's more, it was an annoying situation, I think yesterday too, where I unlocked my car from the house and then I picked up my keys and pushed the button again after I grabbed Nathan's stuff or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I said to myself, like, how many times are you going to unlock this car? And then I went and I did the thing where like you pull on the handle and it's still locked. And so it snaps back and then you like snap your hand. Yep. And I was like, you suck, dude. Like, and I had arms full of stuff and like digging for my keys that are in my little sweatshirt pocket. Mm-hmm. So that was annoying. And then I don't remember, when Katie went out of town, they were monsters. They were freak shows. That was when I posted the story of them like both screaming. Yeah. And I was sitting at the kitchen table because nothing was working. So I put them in the car at like 8:15 in the morning. And I'm like, we're going to go get donuts and drive around till you guys fall asleep. So we went to Country Donuts, you know? Mm-hmm. And Sawyer passed out really quickly. Nathan was still like just jabbering. But anytime we'd stop the car, he would ramp back up into like not happy time. So we pull up and there's a line of cars and it moves pretty quick. And the car in front of us is a minivan. And I can see that there's car seats in the back, right? And I roll down my window and she says, I want 2 dozen assorted donuts. And I said, good, this will go quick. And then the person at the waitress or whatever at the donut store, order taker, said, okay, do you want me to pick them or do you want to pick them? And she said, no, I'll pick them. And I went, this is going to be, so now I'm annoyed, right? Mm-hmm. And my window's open. I'm like, come on. And far enough back, she wouldn't hear me. And then something happened that I had to roll my window up because the first 2 she ordered, now, the donuts she ordered are going to annoy you, but what happened annoyed me. Where I went 4 Long Johns. I went 2 vanilla and 2 chocolate. And then the order taker said, do you want sprinkles? And she said, it doesn't matter. And I yelled, then nothing matters. Yeah. Then let her pick all of them. Listen, if you made it this far and you care enough to pick them out, and then you pick them out, and then there's another decision to make on top of that, and that doesn't matter, then nothing matters. Just throw them out the window.
If you're going to pick them out, you got to say everything all at once.
Oh, and so I'm sitting here, Nathan's like ramping up, and I'm like, I had to roll the window. This lady is going to, we were there for way too long, but I was from 0 to 100 so angry. I was like,
seems like you had something else building up to that, huh?
Oh my God. And then I was like, no, maybe she's got picky kids in the back. Maybe she's going, she aren't 2 dozen donuts. She's going to a party or something like that. But I was like, if you're going to get specific enough to order 2 chocolate and 2 vanilla Long Johns, you better care enough if I'm behind you in line to care if they have sprinkles or not. Mm-hmm. And then we eventually got
especially if that's first off the that's first on the list.
It's number 1.
If you're getting to like donut 23 or 24, then fine, give me that. It doesn't matter. But if that's what you're leading off with, like, you gotta be ready to go.
Well, and then I'm pretty sure because I rolled down the window again, and I'm pretty sure I heard her say like, "Now what do I have?" Or like, can you kind of? I was like, "Oh my God!" I'm gonna put Nathan in your car.
And he's space between your ears. That's it.
So that was an adventure. But so what has that happened to you recently?
I'm trying to think. Sid did something, and I felt bad because I'm like, "Hey, Sid, I need you to just shut up for a little bit." And then I'm like, I'm sorry, baby, I didn't mean to say that. But
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was though. I know that I yell at my dog more than I should, and more than she understands. But I think actually this morning we were going out to throw like one of her toys out in the field. And she gets amped up when we go out there. So she's like pulling and sliding on the ice and stuff. Yeah. And so then I'm like yelling at her like an idiot in the middle of the street, like, stop pulling, stop. And I'm like, dog doesn't know. She just wants to go pee in the street and chase this toy around.
Like, maybe I should speed up now that I look at it. Yeah, dude. I do that. The only time I feel bad yelling at Nathan is when I can recognize that my yelling at Nathan sounds like when I used to yell at the dogs. I'm like, God, jeez. There's got to be a little bit of separation here between like, hey, knock it off.
Yep. I wish I could remember what I yelled at Sid for, but can't remember it.
Yeah, it'll come up. Yeah. It'll come up. So I sent you this article a couple days ago. And like I said, I went down the rabbit hole. I watched several documentaries on this person so far, but I've also watched too many other documentaries, so I lost my train of thought. But basically, this fitness influencer is getting sued by the state of Texas for allegedly misleading clients with eating disorders. Now, that's a catchy headline, but it seems like it's true. And this is old. This all happened in 2019, but she's just getting charges brought against her now. Essentially, what she did was sell people what she called personalized fitness and eating plans, and then none of them were personalized. She just sent the same thing to everybody. So much so that, like, people would send in their contact email and say, hey, I have a terrible eating disorder, and I want to harm myself, and I think I need to get back on track. And her canned response was like, welcome to the family. That sounds awesome. I can't wait to work with you. And like
fist bump emoji.
It exactly was. And then they went back and all of her, so she was charging for personalized workouts, coach access, and then 2 or 3 friends would get referred, so they'd all be together in a group, and they'd all get the same text. Like, it would just like, you got this, girl, great job. Like, all within a minute of each other, when none of them were doing anything.
Yeah.
And so with that, there were people with eating disorders that got very strict and cookie cutter meal plans and made their eating disorder worse. There were people that bought like a $300 package for 3 months and then didn't get anything at all. And long story short, she stole everyone's money and bought a big house, and now she disappeared for a while. Issued a very strange and kind of twisted apology where she blamed everybody for feeling like they were scammed by her, and then now she came back as a ultra conservative Christian influencer. Now she's making a rip-roaring comeback, selling self-led spiritual weekend getaways for like way too much money.
Yeah.
So she's still running the subscription
Found
game
the
kind of
scam
thing.
that you can't measure, huh?
Nope, you can't. Yeah, there's no
progress
certification
there,
for being
yeah.
a Christian, and especially not for helping someone find spirituality. It's a tough one to measure. But I wanted to go over that because, not to necessarily just crap all over this chick, because I think she deserves it. But this is an old story. She's just getting charged now. And if you go on YouTube and look up her name, there's no shortage of people just ripping her apart.
Sure.
And I mean, I watched two YouTube 30-minute documentaries on her, and she's just a mess. But we both do online training, and I thought this was pretty pertinent because I think we're good at it. But there's a million not good at it people or just fake people out there. I think we have some pretty good insight to tell people what to look out for or protective measures. And then I actually saved a post from John Rusin because he put up what you should be paying for online training. And I think it's in general like high. Yeah. But then if you look at what you can get from a coach, I think you start to understand it better.
Yeah.
But we're definitely conditioned as trainers not to charge very much money, which different conversation altogether. But what sticks out to you when you see someone like an influencer or someone selling programs? Like, what's a red flag that you pick up on pretty quickly?
If there's any like short-term time frame on it, that's usually a pretty good red flag. You know, if someone tells you in 6 weeks, or 6 or 8 weeks that there's going to be a huge change, chances are you're not getting, a solid program at that point. You're probably getting one that it's going to get your heart rate up or make you work hard or whatever. But it's just, there's not enough time to change in that short period of time, and they're probably just preying on the fact that most people aren't going to follow through on a remote training program anyways. And if they price it the right way, either somebody's going to be shamed into like, I didn't follow the program enough, so like I'm not going to call and try and get a refund for it or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And if it's a cookie cutter one, then there's no time investment into that. I sent you the sheet with the videos that have already been filmed and everything, and the program's already laid out. So would that take me 10 minutes to do? And if you're going to pay me $70 for that, like you're not coming back to me after 6 weeks for $70, right, most likely, and but that's just not enough time to actually see any standing change. So that's usually a pretty big red flag for me. There should be some sort of interview process in the beginning too. If you're just going to buy a program, that's what you're going to get. It's like, I don't know that you'd go buy a used car without trying to learn more about the car. It's like, if you're going to, and if that's what you want is just buy something to follow, then by all means do it. But if you're looking for any sort of accountability or any sort of interaction or engagement, like there has to be an interview process in the beginning of nothing else. And the interview can be as short as, what are you looking for?
Right.
How many times a week do you want to do it? There has to be some sort of like questions asked of you to set up the program. And if that's not there, then that's a pretty big red flag that you're going to get sold, something that somebody else has probably gotten sold as well.
Well, that's what got this chick in trouble was, she was preaching individualized stuff and preaching access to her. And then it wasn't there. So,
right.
I'm not sure. I doubt there was any kind of discovery call or anything like that, but it's in the second part of this, like protective measures. I have that written down. Is there a discovery call? Because there's just no way. There's no way you can issue someone a plan for anything without knowing, like you said, at least what they're looking for, at least what they're trying to do.
I need to know why you're getting a hold of me, like what equipment you have, how many times a week we're doing this, like, there just has to be more, even from the trainer side, they need investigation of like, what am I working with here? Right. It's like, what's your injury history? Like,
Well, I think that lends to a quality trainer too, because I want to know that stuff for two reasons. First of all, I don't want to make anything worse, right? But second of all, if I don't ask those questions and you have an injury that I didn't, you might know your knee hurts all the time, mm-hmm, and that's just part of your life. But if I don't ask you that and you don't tell me that because you're just used to it, and then you get hurt, now I could be in trouble, right? At the very least, you're going to quit and probably trash talk me because I made you do something that you shouldn't have been doing.
Well, on our side of the fence too, it's like if I don't find out that you have a knee issue, and then we do, a lot of squat based stuff and your knee hurts, you're not going to sign back up with me again. Right. So it behooves me to find that out so that I can keep the relationship going on my end as well.
Yeah, I think on the far end of that, there's always the potential for a lawsuit or an appeal to NSCA or something. There's lengths that people can go to because they're angry,
right?
Even though it's probably a falling down on both parts for information wise. I think when you said the 6 to 8 week thing, I mean that's the first thing that comes to mind when I see anything of a program less than 12 weeks is that it's just going to be a volume based, just burn the world down, get your heart rate up, and probably very excessive.
Yep.
If it comes with any kind of meal plan, the meal plan is going to be extremely limiting because these things are usually marketed to like beach body stuff, right, or wedding stuff or some big event in your life. They're going to try to tie some big event in your life to your fitness, and you want to look good for that event. So they'll even say like be in the best shape of your life for your wedding, and we can do that in 8 weeks,
Yep.
And you might get noticeably thinner in 8 weeks, but it's not going to be sustainable, and it's just going to be from pounding your face into the wall just a million times. Yep. And you might even come out of there injured or worse off than when you went in. So yeah, that short-term thing is definitely something. What about like their Instagram or their Facebook pages? If you look at those, can you pick someone out pretty quick? And
I think that I can. Some of the nuances is like if you have somebody following around filming your workouts, chances are you're going to be a little bit more on the influencer side.
Yeah.
if most of the stuff is you being, and certainly there's trainers, and John Rusin's one of them, of like a lot of his stuff that's filmed is him doing it, but he's always got a workout buddy in there too that's doing stuff with him. But if I see a lot more client profile, I probably am believing them in a little bit more because they're doing it in real life too. Now I know that there are some people that are exclusive to online training, and obviously they're not going to have a stable of clients, but that would be the first place that I probably look, is if it looks like somebody's following somebody around with a phone. There's always the catchwords too, if it's booty workout and all that stuff, what people want to hear, that's usually a red flag for me as well.
Yeah, I have the same ones. I even go a step further with their page or their wall of like, if they have very few images or videos or whatever of them working out at all, and it's all just body stuff, right? So like this girl in Texas, obviously her page is totally different now, but for what it looked like from the stories was it was all just swimsuit pics and all just staged professional gym pictures or something like that, right? Very little actual demonstration of anything and very little actual working out, but it was all just one big show, right? Just one big advertisement poster. And we've talked about it before. There's people that look amazing, and then you see them train, and you're like, how are you still walking? Like how are you walking, and how are people paying you to teach them how to work out? And then you see other people. I remember a long time ago, maybe when I first started LGN, I just thought of this. There was a trainer at a local gym or like an exporter or something like that, and he was a bigger fella, and I was like, man, I don't know, that guy looks like he's in terrible shape, and I feel like there should be a little bit of a physical standard maybe. This was, 10, 15 years ago, Chris, and you were actually like, oh, I know that guy. He had a terrible car accident or something like that, and he's actually a phenomenal trainer, but he just, he struggles with his disabilities, and I think I don't think it's a severely consistent thought, but if you're worried about a trainer who is over the age of, that's going to be kind of a broad generalization, same word twice. If you're worried about a trainer who's over 40 and they have a terrible social media, they're probably an okay trainer.
Yeah.
If you have a trainer that's in their 20s and they have a fantastic social media, there might be a terrible trainer. Like most of the older guys we know, I guess we're older soon, really good trainers, terrible social media, terrible at selling themselves, very little content that you can even follow or make out. But if you go train with them in person or see what they do, you're like, oh, you're really good at this. Yeah. Because your focus is on training people, not putting up cool pictures on Instagram,
Yeah. I think another thing, this is more subtle and harder to find probably, and I might be off on this, but I feel like if you post a workout that looks excessive and just looks really high volume, 20 of something, 5 rounds through, that's more of a red flag to me than people who are posting, here's like 2 hip mobility exercises and something else to do, because that other side shows me like they're part of a complete program and they're not just concerned with, sweat angels on the floor and stuff like that. And I could be wrong on that, but I would bet more often than not, more influencer side of things are going to be, here's this ridiculous workout, whereas more coaches are going to be like, here's some movements that can help you. If you want more of these movements, I can help you. You know?
I think that's a extremely valid thought. I mean, even the biggest name in that ridiculous front, Joel Seedman, says that he does regular stuff 80% of the time. Yeah. And the 20% is the goofy stuff that people want to pick apart and argue with him about. Yeah. I don't know if that's true.
And even if you look at him, he's not posting workouts, he's just posting circus tricks for the most part.
Yeah. And so, by his account, that's a very small portion of what he does, but he admits like the other stuff's boring. So why put that up if I want to sell as much stuff as I can?
And that's the thing, is you can't differentiate yourself when you're posting a goblet squat and 40 other people are,
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of, that's a hard one to stick to though. I mean, cause you've seen basically what I post is, solo stuff in the basement. It's either demo videos or just short workouts, and it's all just fundamental stuff, Right. But that's a tough one to stick to because I know there's a faster way to like gain popularity or sell more stuff, but that also depends on who you want to attract at the same time.
The problem with that, though, is that, coaches, I don't think are looking to gain a ton of volume popularity because there's just not enough time for us to service clients the way that we think that we should, because a lot goes into it, and you're on Trainer Eyes, right? No,
True
Coach.
Yeah.
And even now, like I've been using Train Heroic for 4 or 5 years now, and like I'm pretty fluent with it now. But if I'm going to build a program for somebody to start, each workout probably takes 20 minutes to, sift through and put together, times however many a week, times however many for the cycle that I'm building.
Yeah.
So it's like there's just not enough hours in the day to bring on 50 people to do that,
Yeah. Well, and that's so there's a few companies that I follow on Instagram that do that, but they are in it. Like they posted a job posting one time, and it was it's like clearly on there, like if you don't have time to train, it was upwards of 30 people, but if you can't devote like 8 to 10 hours a day to give to these 30 people, then don't apply. Like we're not doing fly by night stuff, and it's going to take you 8 to 10 hours a day to sit there and figure out 30 people's worth of needs,
Right.
And they called it a full-time position. It wasn't like a part-time trainer thing. Like they wanted, and I don't know how many coaches they have, but they have an enormous pool of clients. But yeah, all of them are getting exactly what they should. I mean, I felt my personal training numbers have gone up and down through the digital space. Right now, I think I have 8, and it's almost a relief when one person's like, "Hey, I need a month off," right? I passed my CPAT, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, don't go. Like, but at the same time,
I do feel like I play catch up a lot. Of like, I'll get, even this morning, I got an email from a guy who's like, "Need more workouts," and I'm like, God, it just he just happened to finish them, a couple of days ago, and I hadn't had a chance to get on and see where everyone was at.
Well, and it's nice too. It's nice gaining clients, but then, the startup for that is a lot. I think if I got to 10 clients, I would stay there for a while. Yeah.
See, and that's where you get to, going back to John Rusin's pricing, is like when you start expanding everything that goes into it, it's like, yeah, sure, I'm making you hour-long workouts, but if it takes me 20 minutes to do, times 12 workouts that I'm going to build in the beginning for you, that's 4 hours of work, plus our interview time, plus any time that I'm spending with you, going back and forth on stuff, plus as I'm amending workouts as we go, now I've got 8-10 hours into a program. And then when you look at the value of what going in for a personal training session is between, $50 and $80 an hour, then all of a sudden you can understand why something like that is, $150, $200 a month, because there's more time than just the workout,
Well, there's another facet to it too, is like both of us film our own movements.
Right.
And I'm reusing those movements, often, but there was one time or one person where I needed that movement, so now I'm going to create it, right? And I wouldn't say it's fair to be like, well, everybody's going to pay because I had to spend 20 minutes doing a split squat. That's not the point of it. The point is I'm going to build in enough of a price tag where if you reach out to me and tell me like, I want this version of a split squat, then I don't feel like a fool going down in the basement for 20 minutes and putting it together. So I'm going to let me pull up John Rusin's thing real quick. So this was back in December, so right before the New Year's, maybe trying to tell people to increase their prices for the new year. He's got 5 tiers here, and tier 5 is the fake-ass IG trainer, and that's between $5 and $50 a month, right?
Yeah.
2 is the fitness hobbyist, and that's between $50 and $150 a month. So that's where I fall, is $150, right on top edge of that. $150 is where I would put like a good coach in our area. Right?
Yeah.
Tier 3 is the newbie trainer, so low experience, maybe a lot of information. That's $200 to $350 a month. I mean, to me, that would be like expert level coach in our area. I think it just fits kind of what our demographic is. Tier 2 is a quality coach. That's $400 to $600 a month. And then tier 1 is elite expert coach, $700 to $900 a month.
Yeah.
And I think there's places where this probably stands pretty true.
Yeah, I think he's a Madison guy though, so I'm sure it's inflated just a little bit being up there. But
And I was actually thinking like the California area where everything's expensive, or any big city, like probably in the city, Chicago or New York or LA or something like that. Yeah. I bet you could pull these prices.
Yeah, if you're in a major metro area at a high profile facility,
yeah,
then I'm sure you're commanding that. But like independent Curt and Chris, that's a tougher one to command, you know?
It is, especially considering the cheap firemen that I work with. So here's what Ben Bruno posted today. His client, Phil Rosenthal, who he always kind of makes fun of, sent him an article. It says, lifting weights for just 3 seconds a day can improve muscle strength. And then he said, what do you think? And Ben Bruno's response was, great, this can be our new workout, same price.
Yeah.
They screenshot that and sent it. So it fits pretty well into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So another point I have here is the price versus what they offer. And I wrote in there specifically transformation, because I think that's a huge hook for people, like a body transformation thing. Mm-hmm. But those are usually the like $65 to $85 things. Like you're going to do a 6-week body transformation.
Right.
And when I think that word's been kind of diluted to where it's just like a flash word or buzzword we use. But when you actually look at it, like what can you possibly transform in the world, a bathroom or your car or anything, for $65 to $85, let alone you who's been building this disaster of a machine for 40-ish years, right?
Yeah.
Like what? Oh, I'm just going to turn this all around for $65.
Yep.
You know, it's just so unrealistic. But their words grab you, and you're like, oh, I'd like to transform a couple of inches off, you know, and it's just nuts. So that's a huge red flag for me, is what they're advertising versus what they are going to charge you to do this completely revolutionary transformation on you. Then I have just content and buzzwords. We kind of talked about that. And then protection measures. What we didn't talk about is there a cancellation or refund policy? That's where this lady in Texas got in trouble too, was people started complaining. It quickly came out that everyone had the same program. There was no personalization. She wasn't interacting with anyone. They started a Facebook group, and within like a day it had like 2,000 or 3,000 people in it, all claiming fraud. What she got in trouble for, what caused the most uproar, was that she gave either no or she gave like partial refunds. Mm-hmm. So people would say like, yeah, I paid her $300. She gave me $12 back.
Yeah.
That made them more mad if they got no money at all.
Yeah.
And I was thinking like, before you're going into something, whatever it is, an experience or buying something, you might look at a price tag and be like, you know, I'm going to buy this, whatever. And if it doesn't work, it's $50. Mm-hmm. What's the big deal? You know? And if you go through it and it doesn't work, you're like, damn, I wasted $50, you know? But if you feel like you got cheated, like you'll spend $1,000 to get that $50 back. Like you will feel so scorned and so motivated to get your money back. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst feeling. And this is a conversation I have with all my new clients, whether they're friends or coworkers or whoever, is I tell them like, listen, it's just me running this thing. If you want to bail, you just got to let me know. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not going to charge a cancellation fee. Like obviously if you don't like it, something didn't mesh up or just didn't go well.
Right.
But that's something that needs to be addressed up front. Mm-hmm. And if you're getting to a position where you're going to buy a program or something from a company that's so far buried in like the tiny type on the 10th page of your contract with them, like that's a huge red flag in itself.
Yeah.
If you're going to deal with an organization and not a person, for especially a personalized fitness thing, mm-hmm. You should probably get your money stolen, but you're in a bad spot.
Yep.
But I think that's realistic. Like a lot of people that are going for these things don't have a really good grasp on what the fitness industry is. Mm-hmm. You know, if I told you that to go change the brakes on your car was $12 and you had no idea, you'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then some other guy's like, no, it's a couple $100. You'd be like, you're ripping me off. This guy can do it for 12, you know? Yeah. And that's the constant play back and forth we see on social media of like, this good looking person is doing this crazy stuff and mm-hmm. they can train you for $18 a month. You know, why would they ever come to Curt and Chris who charge $150 plus for the same thing?
I mean, that's the conversation we had last week about that client here, is that, you know, she's frustrated because she's not getting instant results. And then she's flashing us, you know, this lady on Instagram for $15 a month. And it's like, go, you know, like try it.
Yeah. There was another part in this, I think it was in that documentary I watched about basically, oh no, it was a different one. But there's names for everything. Like every tactic or every thing you do, there's like a name for, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a psychological thing or a model behavior thing. And there's a whole industry built on the fact of like the hustle. And if you didn't do well, or if you didn't accomplish something, or if something didn't go right, it was because you didn't work hard enough. And I think you kind of mentioned that before, that I think that's kind of the central idea that a lot of the mass marketed programs fall back on.
Right.
It's like, yeah, you say you followed the program, but did you really? Like, did you really try your hardest every day? And
they'll put their disclaimer in of also, in conjunction with ... whether that's sleeping, a well-balanced diet, and stuff that you won't be able to prove to them, know, so that, and that's what they'll always point to is like, well, if the program didn't work, there was something else that you were doing that wasn't supporting because the program works,
Yeah, it was actually, so that was my example when I was talking about, when I gave a nutrition talk to a department, I was saying, did you ever recognize how like the old infomercials for whatever Total Gym or just gimmicky kind of Torso Tiger thing, you know, it always came with a meal plan on the side of it, right?
Yeah.
And they would always say like, if you use this in our dedicated meal plan, then you're going to see results. And then I would tell them like, even if you just threw that Torso Tiger across the room twice a day and ate generally close to that meal plan that was free, you would probably see results. Probably. But now the Torso Tiger is the greatest thing that you ever bought for $12.99 at 1 a.m, you know? And it plays such a monumental role in it that, it's an easy part to be like, yeah, I see that you did my boot camp 6 days a week, but I saw on social media you went and had tequila with the girls on Saturday night, so you're not living the holistic lifestyle I told you will work for this. It's just so trashy, man. It's such a garbage industry. It's such a garbage industry, dude. So what would you like I don't feel like we need to justify anything we're doing for sure, right? But
no.
What would you tell people like as summer's coming, snow, it's going to be 50 tomorrow as opposed to 30.
25 on Thursday though.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Sure is. I mean, do you have any advice for people as they look through? I know we gave stuff to watch out for, but maybe just a reassurance, you know?
I mean, well, first I think you got to figure out what your goal is, you know, and like you and I, we aren't training people for aesthetics, you know, that's a tertiary benefit probably from like the training that we're looking to do. So like, I think you got to figure that out first, because if your goal is to, you know, be a better sprinter, like doing a program that has no sprinting is not going to move you in that direction. Yeah. So you have to do some investigation and some education on your front, or on your part of figuring out what you want to do. And then just interview, you know, it should come off pretty quickly as to who's in stuff for personalized stuff versus who's just selling a cookie cutter program as soon as you peel like the first layer of the onion back. But, you know, and if you're looking for a program that's, you just follow it, then, you know, there's plenty of those out there, you know, and follow it. But if you want coaching, there's got to be an interview process in the beginning. Yeah.
I like that. I would, there's not too much to add on to that. I would just tell people, I suppose, that it comes back to what you said the first time, was just figure out what you want. And if you want coaching and if you want another person on the other side of your program, it's going to cost probably more than you're comfortable with. And that's purely a symptom of either coaches undercharging for so long in the space, or you just being so exposed to frauds that you believe that you should be able to get the moon for $50 a month. So, you know, I guess it's kind of a challenge too. Challenge yourself to kind of reevaluate the fitness space that you're looking at purchasing something from. And if you're a coach, I guess it's a kind of a challenge to don't be afraid to charge your worth, because if there's anything that I've learned in dealing with companies outside of the fire service or even cities in the fire service, is that there's enough money out there for whatever you want to charge. Like, there's people charging ridiculous amounts of money for stuff, and they're selling stuff, and people are saying yes to them. Don't pigeonhole yourself into thinking that you live in a small town, or you just don't live in that area where you can charge. There's people in your area, or like we're talking about the remote stuff, there's people willing to pay for the quality stuff you're putting out. So if you're a coach and you feel like you're undervaluing yourself, knock it off. And, you know, I had to have the talk with myself when I raised my prices from $100 to $150 a month, which Katie thinks I should be charging more because she sees how distracted I am by it all the time. Right. I think I will. It'll be a slow growth kind of thing. All right. If you guys need anything else, don't be afraid to reach out. Everything's in the show notes, and we'll talk to you soon, and be a force shooter.